Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Foregoing, we on the side of the minority demand the following actions, grounded in constitutional governance and parliamentary accountability. 1. We on the side of the minority demand that there is an immediate withdrawal of all teaching and learning materials containing LGBTQ related content, including redefined concepts of sex, sexuality, sexual orientation, sexual rights, and gender identity from all schools. You remember when NACA brought their statement, as it were, to respond to Reverend Ntimfojwo. They made mention of the fact that the current manual has been withdrawn from the schools. And Dr. Park also made Ghanaians also know that even though it has been withdrawn, he referred us to an online version of the manual. In that online version, it is even worse. The definitions of what sex, sexuality, and others are is even worse in that online version. The minority is also demanding a transparent and inclusive review of all affected teaching and learning materials involving Parliament, religious bodies, traditional authorities, parents, civil society organizations, education experts, and teacher unions. 3. The dismissal of the Director General of NACA and the Chairperson of NACA Board for failure of oversight and breach of public trust. We say so because NACA is now telling us, assuming without admitting, that the document was developed by the MPP government in 2024. If you don't believe in it, why then do you go ahead to go and even print them in 2025? That is causing financial loss to the state. Because these are teacher manuals that you have printed and distributed across the country. And that is why we are calling for the head of the NACA CEO and the board chairperson of NACA. The institution of a full parliamentary inquiry by the appropriate committee of the House into the development, approval, funding, and circulation of these materials, including the role of external partners. Now there's a call of conscience and civic responsibility. I once again use this opportunity and on behalf of my colleagues call on the bishops, that is the Catholic Bishops Conference of Ghana, the Christian Council of Ghana, the Methodist Conference, the Presbyterian Conference, the Muslim Conference, to examine the teacher manual carefully and determine whether its content is in consonance with the teachings of Christ. And for those who are also Muslims, to also assess whether the content in the teacher manuals are also in consonance with the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If it is not in consonance with that, we want to hear from them. We are also calling on the broader Christian community, religious bodies, civil society organizations, parents, traditional leaders, teacher unions, and all well-meaning Ghanaians to let their voices be heard. They cannot be quiet. They cannot practice magnum silencium. We need to hear from them. Parliament responds to pressure. Silence weakens accountability. This is not a partisan matter. It is a question of national values, legislative integrity, and the moral direction of our education system. We further challenge the NDC government to state clearly on the floor of Parliament and to the Ghanaian people whether it still stands by the statements it made in opposition. Which statement at the tail end of my submission, I will read some of them out to you. Whether delay still amounts to endorsement, and whether it will finally align its parliamentary conduct with this public rhetoric. History will not remember slogans. It will remember votes, rulings, and decisions, and silence in moments like this is itself a legislative choice.
Yes, power to the people. Say, you catch it, say, you can't abide papa, and then Friday, a month for so more per a year, face the war. Obabe, inside politics, we are also face the war. We did 30 minutes, one can answer some. If you feel the best at all, what's about the Delgumiso? The face war, the Fridays, the Opa, Fridays, and angels, no, or more bar, no money, be dinkra, no more. Into Fridays, no face the war. Wa bema worship about your second kama Emmanuel Nati in Krenia or fair face the war. In Krenia, de kai hu in Kene Friday in ka a year kinky a trine kama ene shetoni bibia nka ona wose ka wuchi ayu ayesi ya wunchi a shitolo eno no aka na sa ya lolo no na ki sima na ke Ekow na no a ene Friday boys ya konsuso maba se ponye Tuesdays no mon kopo na ka manchi na me machi na ha ekomo obushi obechi amai what I say a cheno shitolo ne guso na fei boys atrans ni twimoko what ha na we say face the war. Emmanuel Nati power, I'm highly disappointed in you. In Kenya will face the war. What you say? Well, just about the way. Let's get to serious business live on TV, SYZ, and also on Power 97.9 from the support from the 900 million angels. Atankulega biga Mugabe Maase, the capacity man. Sabi Mate Esim, the ensema ya de ebre woni nyina no. Ye kan wa ha yesi ye kan se ubi mesi menka se yesi. Nete ubi akana me ba be kan wa ha. De meken bia no me hold on to where's bia me yusu any bibia e de man for the obi ba kan ye de me asem but de me kan de minim de me kan e wa ha. The sema ene ye de ebre won. Ase MPP abanwi a etwam kwa amanfofo aye den aba. Se NDC nete so MPP aban ye den ekofie. And the NDC Ghana for now say over 35 million population Ghana for the good citizens of this country. Omakotna say no ma sonne so mo so ma so nsu aso ansa and wo mo ehun de mu yedu. Enei kwakwahwe akwafoi. Small boys see and the MPP asa Assafuah ne wo mu ni nyina okokasa pe yese be suspend o. Ibe yiwe free amanyeku no ena ma sankwas ena LED MPP sankwas ena LED MPP Frimpon boate ko kasa na echina small boys no babies no omo bepie abranya mo bepie na so Frimpon boate mo yini free party no na yeyi na abranya timu yede nokura sa ewa Ghana ha obia timi ka nokure Akufo-Addo accept MPP amanyoku no wakwa si de wakwa ni boydo France wodin ebegu enwu onfa ho waye yie tam mo wia o man we tam o mo the National Cathedral wia o man we tam o mo the PDS wia o man we tam. I know, sir, the Attorney General, Dr. Ayene, the Attorney General is doing all that he can to make sure, say, nipa bofo omadi o man wesika wo kwambone so no will be prosecuted. And woman omuwure mu e wo PDS no. But Umia cannot be escaped. Yes. On to me, film or enye ye. Dear Gabi Motra, demo, or much no. Wumutania enye ye about PDS, National Cathedral, they can't run away. I say you can run, but you can't hide. They don't have anywhere to go and hide. The truth must be told. I was a kind of chronic settlement before the moon in the country. As we speak. Where abaya aba, irrespective of your political colors. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said, adeɛ fo ne sɛ kataasehye ene proye corruption ɛyɛ adeɛ na kuma empe nani pese behu in opposition for 8 good years while availing himself some manager Mahama some maye bone bi Akufo-Addo yo pese oyemi bia ya mi nwane ko ba bia ne finance minister tena Ghana ha wanyane akoba bia deputies na ha omanyane akoba bia na appointees tena ha omanyane akoba bia Akufo-Addo ba ye no wo ye na dwen say wo betata jo Mahama na appointees the likes of Atoforsen, Honorable Collins Dauda, Honorable Ofosu, name them. The former national chairman of the NDC, currently he is the board chairman of Cocoa Board. The likes of Dr. Stephen Opuni, Honorable Sedu Agongo, womu destroy amount for businesses. The former governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Kwabena Dufour, and Pennyfour, name them. Sell more businesses. Yes, a box site where they are way in Hini, ya the Jomam and Indian Ibrahim, ya the Comachanese for Nanado, a year near my winner. Naso Kwanku Siaga. Show. And yet Jomama peso. And ya de a year said nam Ekow jina a year court. Akufo-Addo ne din be court. Maame no organ ha. John Mahama he was not in the helm of affairs. Ya betimi hold John Mahama a year responsible say ebia wo hold John Mahama say wo no ene mama me ni free o my Ghana mu ha call a year America. You di maame na sem wie she was nowhere to be found. Her location everywhere. No me bia Akufo-Addo no nko say oni ha. Akufo-Addo atumi ahwehwe maame na amayo. Said wo mama furu atadwane ye no. Akufo-Addo atumi ahwehwe said na mamaye. Sa oman. Ba me catch ya when say under the good leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. See, you can say you are resetting. You can say you are pabaya. When you willing to fight corruption, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the name Ebeba #1 on African soil. Not only in West Africa, on African soil, African as a continent. Because what demonstrated so many things are. We wait to say papa where you will be when you willing say or be fighting corruption. When you clearing agent, where you me party member into ono de yenya no nam ne baby wabo my we krono kra na court a convict na munya no anta na brochiri me do mama me nya ho hwe as we speak. Said nam tamoklo ewo detention ewo America mem wuni mana say wuni. Well, me person meje sem no bebre aka ne no na me wi ama bejaja na agu the useless ones ye o makwa kwotena fi a eye pious ene ne nkrofo wo mo small boys wo makwotena fi a opposition fo a tafo MP Ekow small boy Ekow, you are my younger brother. I mean, reason up. Like, and you may be a sa a yeta for pancrono, and you can up on a quenion. And then MPP say, I'm a Sanquast. Eh? Sanquast. And I take the party. And that John Ajekum Kufo, more personal. Wo, nka, BBN wa waiting in your MPP. And a press conference at home, Mokasa. General Secretary Kasa won't take him. National Chairman Yira, Organizer Yira, woohoo. So who kwa no mbekachire Ghana for? Yetie ene ensema efri eye America. Ghana ambassador to eye America. ya no office ɛwɔ Washington DC ne de ambassador Victor Smith yetin sema wodi atudwa efa sedinam tamakulo ne detention in America no
enra na yatete nsem say ya chino but me de befa here say aye adwuma ndi nisuma me pending for consular officers no mo hwehwe with the US authorities and omo confirm me enra say US marshals are arrested Indiano, Ewo Nevada, Ewo Ekow, Las Vegas side holo. Omo detaining. Now omo detaining as far back as 6th of January. That was last week also. And see, then I had to then issue a formal statement. Say now we've identified and gotten confirmation from the US authorities. Say omo arresting on an extradition or a request from Ghana as far back as July of 2024. Yes, the extradition order on, once the government puts it, I believe a request in place, U.S. government, Department of Justice, or almost a Kasakatana, almost started to say, Ubutu say big guy say Attorney General Dr. Ine or one of his press conferences okay until BBC or say US authorities now confirm and say they've almost finished the arrangements for the extradition of Yenia Bano. And this was, I don't know whether it was November now to December, and a press interaction. And the immediately say a BSR requesting now to approve so back as July of 2024. And I'm saying US authorities and my who can say US marshals and Kofa Yenia Bano, no one detaining. Yet the never call judge who any action of theirs necessary it will call court and my judge. It's now say or conclude your money ruling and nobody that is what I know. If I can microphone say everything immediately no say bit me akosra in your banana, but US marshals omo ni en kasa to say their eyes for the kasa or area back no kind of for at the no the omo they said they're not cooperating with us very much, but it goes to say very say bit me akosra in your banana. I have say well problems you have na concerns be na bombia or say the drama na in the ending town.
Ghana ambassador to the United States of America, His Excellency Victor Smith and I'm watching the Ghana live on TVS YZ and also on Power 97.9 FM, the hottest and the biggest conversation in Ghana inside politics. And Wasu Gusua Wuti Yemfi one of young call a Jubilee House near call the Vice President of the Republic, Mame Professor Jinana Opoko Ajman. Ne office na yen share enya anamutu a watimi to efa a year transport ministry sector no enyama ekoso honorable a year Bukari or year sector minister or ne deputy tofe omo ebo adwuma yie papa na wo call a year ayololo nso omo ya de e na wo call a year Metro Mass Transit nso lawyer a year Kali Caesar ya wono a year MD ho no omo nyina omo ebo adwuma yie papa na ye mami enei wotumi akọ a year apro na ye mami prof na Jeni Opoko Ajman Obatampa Vice President Papa say we head the economic management team and what me born home thing ya sabri or my Ghana ye di near to me record a year single digit inflation network to Assafuah from 6.3 never down one ya benya 5.4 yet say ye mami ni jumedie eso ni papa na engagement no we shall say e wo a year Metro Mass Assafuah di wura ma ekɔ nanim na me ba se magene sem nyina aka no me wi a me wogya me ba bebie nti no e pese etie ensem a ye maame enayi wotimi editu dwa na fi wi a agya gombe man atankolega bi ga the capacity man na one mejeja no edi aguma ma ye na hwefo ene ene for Vice President of the Republic.
I was made aware earlier in the day that you had a meeting. So also thank you for your indulgence because we have more or less disrupted your meeting. But I'm also very, very much concerned that at the end of your meeting, you get more details that the ministers can share with us so that we can all team together in finding a solution. It's not an amusing situation. I've gone to the market, I've gone to school, I've gone wherever I need to go to, and I need to return. And having queues all over the place is not the most effective way of anybody spending their time, especially if you consider the kinds of frustrations that the situation is causing. As the Chief of Staff, my Chief of Staff has said, we can also become victims of our own success. You know, when we saw the crowds in town, we all thought, oh, it's just Christmas, which was more or less expected. But it doesn't look like the crowd has left. And therefore, there are persistent issues and we need to resolve them. So the transport sector seemed to have been waiting to exhale. And you are now exhaling, which is good. But in the process of exhaling, we need to team up and resolve the issues. So these are some of the comments I need to make. And I also appreciate your impatience in getting the problems resolved. Yes, even if for 10 years you haven't had support, it doesn't mean that going forward you should never get support. So we understand, but we also want to plead for your patience. We all know the situation. We all know all kinds of deaths and situations we need to resolve. We are not complaining. We are just asking everybody's support, everybody's patience in finding solutions that work for the benefit of all of us in this country. So on behalf of His Excellency the President, I want to thank you very, very much for your support and cooperation, which you have demonstrated so far. And I know we can count on it going forward. And especially for making the effort to meet with us this morning. I'm very, very grateful. And I also want to thank you for your support for the, is it the 15% reduction or so? Yes. And that's important because it cushions commuters. And who are the commuters? If they're not from my home, excuse me to say they are from your home. So they are it's about all of us. So thank you very, very much. But recently we have received all the reports about the stresses that commuters are facing, especially during rush hours in the morning and worse in the evening. I saw one and it wasn't amusing at all, you know. And sometimes the problem is caused by all kinds of situations, including even exploitation by some of our own drivers. Some long queues at bus stops and terminals, congestion, and all kinds of stresses that come with this situation. And we are informed that our fellow countrymen and women, we want them to be aware that government is not blind to the situation, that we have not seen, that we don't care, we think it's somebody's problem, it's everybody's problem. That is why I started by saying that we need to team up to find the solutions. We believe that the problems have solutions. I may not have any of them, you may have so many of them, and we are always willing to learn. So please continue to team up with us as we find solutions to problems that bedevil our country. And we know the rules of the public sector in transportation. I mean, you carry the burden, if I may use the word. You carry the responsibility, and our job is to ensure that we are lightening the burden so that you can play your roles well as a private sector. This is one way that we evaluate the presence and the input of the private sector. So we depend on you for all of us to reach our workplaces, our schools, our markets, wherever we need to go. And this is also the trust of your responsibility. And we know and we expect that this responsibility will be grounded in fairness, in respect. So I want to encourage open communication for all of us to resolve the issues. So this meeting is very, very important for us. We want to ensure that no passenger feels exploited, whether through fares or queues or even lapses in safety protocols. We need to promote fairness, transparency, accountability in everything that we do, regardless the sector. So I encourage that we also communicate clearly, fairly, respectfully with our passengers, or the people who patronize our businesses. So please, with all respect, I want you as leaders to monitor your membership in order to prevent unnecessary negative comments and outcomes. So I want to pledge that the government continues to provide the necessary support to improve the welfare of passengers and of drivers. We have the big push. Fixing the roads is very, very important for us. And at that time, it's not just for the drivers or the passengers, but for all of us. It has implications for every sector, the road, the transport. If I'm sick and I'm going to the hospital, and the driver tells me that where I live has a bad road, and so he's not coming to support me, we can all know the implications. So it's a very, very important intervention. So we want to modernize and expand our transport services to promote and improve access, to ensure affordability and security too for the motoring public. We are taking steps. So we are therefore taking steps to improve the public transport system, not only by retooling, but also, of the state services, but especially of the private sector too. And I hope that answers your concern about the support that you need. So I'm happy to see the smile on you coming. So, in this vein, His Excellency the President has asked me to assure all of you that he will give support to Metro Maase, Ayalolo, and the private sector. And the private sector with new high occupancy buses in order to augment the services in the medium term. We also have plans to ensure that those that need to be repaired, that the process will be expedited to ensure they can put more buses on the road as soon and as quickly as possible. So my pleas are, let us continue to work together to develop a transportation system that prioritizes fairness, efficiency, excellence. And I know and you know that we can. We are relying on each other to make that possible. And we can do this by upholding high standards, treating passengers with respect. And by so doing, we will also strengthen the trust of Ghanaians in the private transport sector. Thank you very much for your time.
Yamame Prof na Jino Poko Ajimana Motene Kano okasa wie ya no yenua eye lawyer Kale Caesar ye ono so eye MD Edema Metro Mass Transit no ono so ekan bibi ewo Metro Mass Transit o maso ye yiti yenua da ne de nyina ne wo fi ha lawyer Kale Caesar.
We also tried having engagement with other private operators or private vendors to give us passes, and together with His Excellency's linkages and directions to some investors. For now, the company has been able to make some inroads. And so we have private suppliers who are going to give us buses. Come next month, February, middle of February, we have a company that is going to supply us with about 300 buses.
Oh, not just any Kali Caesar and a Mote Nenkano. And they say, freeze the one man and Bobo Wadia Mobo Wapa. Na Muslim de dia na eba ye ma me prof na ageno poko agema se omo de basis me boa metro mass benya bi ayalolo benya bi e na private sector mesre asema me be ka wo se Ghana ha asema ni ka den no ya sentwefo nyina na ya na etumi ka me ka omo benefit no omo enye comfortable with the meba beka no ebi be di matemba I don't care me the be so am the angels no be so am se me meka nchire o my Ghana no meka na me ho atome me ka wie mo de ye adwuma fine mo fa nya adwuma fine na say yete wa ka aba system no ma eye family car so obi ne yere ne ma omo kwa asori bia omoko party bia engagement bia no matenam no mo de ko e bia wo ku fiofie wo kwa asori wa asori ba bia na wo bi oben wo agya wotumi fa na mu nyina makwa asori no mo ba fie yesi e freka ne se vozi se so mo friend se e bi mo friend se nkokon nketenkete na se de kas sakas e ku amanfo e wo Ghana han saka na nya commercial car o me say de e family car e private use na car ne beba kura no tie ya design car ne say ya de ba ye commercial transport kwasi broni a oya car no stia no esinifa ana Ghana for ya padu fudie yeso we de ni duty na afo we de o wo betimi ato between 140,000 to 170,000 iti no ekokumase a efa nipa 80 pe mi ametuo mi ma mebusuani bia amfuru bi da kwa ya common sense eno kwa no akra fie no wato wadaka asi ho tie ne yie sawo ye obatan we parent and advise wo basa saka no onfa bi free ankokumase onfa bi free kumase ko tamale onfa bi free kumase ko sunyane ka ne ya ade a abusuafo ka was a family use anya for commercial purposes mutie ne ye mesina sane na ba kokonya accident e wo suwum kwan aso ka ne sawiem ka na nya accident na sawiem gisi atwa bia ne yadan eto ho ansa na ka na ba betofom Gidebe omo ni na gidebe ya sa driver ka ho afanso enti o we de senya afi na me kofa VIP me kofa OE me kofa Stanbic ho am we de nipa serve pe na ye ma ene ayi suwum sawam nkokko konongo kumase go so go masa wo fie nyansa memfro hwe enkwan ya nkwan wo supermarket you sabane yense say private sector ni yabeboa na yama transport no ayakono na transport no yahu ebi mu te say ajawiase ene miame wofa oi ene yahu emplaza mo abako yahu omo bo ho modern in the transport sector na ban ne be so mo asene ne o mo ayane ma Assafuah Assafuah no me de me friend say krafie eye koto be kumba mi kase ka ne nyo ka no enya for commercial purposes tie me biem mi magu obi adwuma ba ka ne nya for commercial purposes ka ne nya for a private use adie bia ni ho abeka wo betime convince me Mugabe say kai kwasi bro ni wonim de atia wo ya ka na wodi sia no kosi nifa ye nim sa Ghana higher cars ye yusu nyina no left hand drive and ye yusu okwa Britain na right hand okwa Japan na se am ne president ko Japan wo mo cars nyina me kwa na me free say Japan there some most of their cars no Toyota ne Nissan ne ade ne yusu wo Ghana ha Japan car bia be hu bia stia ne si ni fa hwe ho ma me sa ne frɛ no mo kwato hwe ho ma yi me ba no ma best stia ne so with the dashboard na yes san home yes san Dubai original tia ne kwa wa ebetimi atuo afiri nsem enye sa na kwasi bro ni ye no wo kokuma se a menye campaign mo bia na menya advert mo bia ye STC ho ane ya aban de ye wo metro master set ho e do bakọ bakọ do aba beduru bakọ na me kofo ka ye se fa ni panson ka ye to steer ni free eye ni fa ba be si bonkum ni atenji dashboard na wutima anwe da be se tena mo ni mu no mokwa ate se omote eye British Airways mu etiaswa na wukwa wusu V8 wusu Land Cruiser no ka ni sa ho abisa asa na ka we eye inji be ne dem ye kwa ye kokumase ye kokumase ano ma register ni nyina private o registration numbers ni white eye number plate no mu yusu baka ni ye adwuma e de jiska mi se tie mi ye o enya se mi gu obi adwuma o ba tie ne tie mi ye me banyansafuo saka no ye me dem mfo me banyansafuo Mugabe Maase antakolega me advance me family nyina se saka ne friend voice ni udru eye kumase ne CB bank na me mfo kofa VIP ana kofa Metro Mass ana se kofa STC me ye dia no ma ye ni nyina mo ana me ame ofa de no oyi edu ba bidu fie boko yetia na Ghana mo kai abrebe ye say American Ford before some for be realize no na eye Cape Coast takrade da bia de be chibia nipa wo kwa no so wode omo gina wa kumase kwakwa no kumase no manya omo so omo pai ma omo kumase kwakwa o ma ya fine eye ma ni amano 2 cd no wode ase ni botom wode be fa base no wode akwa akoshe obe paya mu akwa akotenem wa hwe ya wo kodu fie isa ewu nibi eye free advice ya awasa abandon so transport ministry no mode munan esi form enye ka bia kaka no obi betimi ato no wode esi kwan so say ka no enye adwuma fa nipa. Let's think about the welfare of the people, their lives, their families. Kwa kadaba bia na na kwa traka no woni experience in driving no kwa hwia manfo megu sumise so hum ka ne sewiem o gisi etwadua no to ho ansa na ka na ba beto fom wo mu nyina dwerebe o mawu kwa de yakọ ewo Cape Coast takrade Kwantempo woni ba Kwantempo no so wo mu yo overtake mu hwe o mani mu hwe o machi sia no efiri ni fa ne yatudi aba besi bunkum ekura wo betimi atu afiri wonsem. Me advice we say we a businessman koto sa aka se ni be say we dey ye commercial business we dey for commercial purpose emwa e was aban ni twam se car we enye car betimi unload ni free akokuma se e commercial transport yes setting rules no to na mranya juma in the system utumi corporate in Germany France na ka bia se amotele lo do amanfo. Let's think about the people. Mese dia make obi business ebi o soja ni we post ni watoba ya 10 watoba ya 5 na mkwa so ya adwuma manu ti Mugabe ka se obeka se Mugabe se bi onim dia woka minim dia make up ka na nya for commercial purpose for private use sa voice na matu dis akokọ ketekete no ma paint ni white and black no black no e de ubeko wuo mu white no yedi white no to vita ni rebeka ta nwa gosi white and black no black no be ko wum white no eno ne do betum ya de me ko amutwimi nya mutwimi nya mu fami ko mu beko saka ne eye kokrafie wo fra woni wo ntam ban voice no yenye very careful. Ghana habibia baya ni ehuri di akire o we die se fani panson fani pan wotwe driver ka hu meti kwa ka hu driver na ne be bia mu wasie ukowu wo we ye nkwase wo all that be there na kufa do ka enye wo bia na ewu bi o ho awaro apɛ na koto wo no wo se wo ni SCC ho VIP ho na we si we si be nko fruit die twist ya no every ya broni na anya for commercial purpose wo ye for private. Ghana hakwa so ne ma bi so dodo ade na car ni steer no ye wokọ ayi o de say Britain hu I mean left hand bi ho wo mu drive bi akwa o ma ye nyina mo ye kwa ne just to suit I mean vehicles to see their roads ya ba si do tenefo te no ne ye pe yes no kwa ne ka den no kwa ne so ne ka di ade sa me na meka na kwa brane jina wa yese tashi to aha to tashi say 5 cedi o wase me na mato me car who born dog intermediate me magic 10 cedi untumi esi fom and the patutu unya car into besi fom no so kwabrane the way wasi address e free ni suru besi fom maybe anese kwa wantwetwe o kasa kire wa nanum yi nka no ka kire o say me meta mu sifom ya famo me na meto me car na brete obi be yewi say me na meto me car me fa bus 1 a year 5-6 ya me the free a year Voso tube station me the ko me na me kro no kusi Shepherd Bush 148 from Camberwell Green na me the kusi Shepherd Bush makobra BBC me na me kro no 38 the free Victoria tube station na the kokko Hackney a year Central wona okro no pese be ka no kra ma Ghana tumpon kwase sasa right hand cars drive right hand drive near the baby gu Ghana ha ne ku amanfo ma yes we dey entertain kwa obeba tem okoba wo me say 500 Ghana ubewu what to wise is enough me say ne kan de to me kan samu amo charges no mo charge extra aye amount e ka total for no nya very careful me nya ne tiasa task force bi o mo beti o magum say de edu anopa ne anwumre a you for drivers ni omu mate ni passengers for baby was oje 5 cedi was a major 10 baby oje 10 was a major 20 wo lodu a also lodu free aya nsawon besi aya kwa me koma sekla wo du amasama was imagine minko baby e nipa no ofifie no wonim se transport no aya 10 Ghana cedis e free aya nsawon e ba kwa me koma sekla ntino wo boa no ho okura ni 20 Ghana cedis ya wonim se okwa obetu aten oba obetu aten adentina ensesaya se ebe mabra ya total transport fares mu sa samfuni feyefa eto now no task force for nya adwuma Greater Accra Regional mayor no the say mayor of Accra, right? Fantastic. Adwuma na me nua ba be bright tema ho no so ye adwuma ma me. Me nua eyesowa MCE mid what they say Amasama Gan West was so task force momutin so kwa no so. Hwe mo fa afi anka ho. Hwe yes if persuasive force must be applied. Side drivers ni bi wo ho a omu hia cane. Wasi etwa omu ma atwa omu to ma na omu sie nyansa wo system num. Sababi a 10 Ghana cedis men ko kasa wo kwaje 20 Ghana cedis. That's what for muti simra mumma discipline. Wow, mumma discipline enya adwuma in the system. Esa funu do so dodo. Your time will be a yani ope, we be so akoto vozi ni a private car. Was me the air commercial. Wa register car no a private number. No the load amafo di kokumasi. Kaja no akwahwi amafo megu. We be so kwabra na kwa akoto Toyota Hesi. So the adwuma akọ kwa me kroma circle to nsawam. Wodu ayamasema anu wayi ni pe. Wodu media anu wayi ni pesi. Sani pona ofuka na ni sika ya 10 Ghana cedis wa sekla wonu se wakwansa mu no wakwa yinu esi amasama no ka sika ban won fanfa so nto ankosu nkodu so I mean this is common sense meka no so enye obi de wo bia wono no free side ya meka no woni menya adwene no ni ti apai obetimi akwakotopo mu na wa shepo I don't care baby amesi baby no kreda bia ne this year 2026 hey amanfo ho be hyehye wo papa mede ke atofo me kasa go mfama mu wi amawie madwuma no na aba pa ho semanum moto asem obenya no abo Clement Park amame mo anya ne sesi anso obetimi atwen me da me ho koba ma hu se abrate na ba betena se na ensamno edoso ensamno doso yempeno kure ada yempeno kure nukure kan ya din wow nukure kan me metima gira me na so me say nyame ya adoma 2 February na ma ya radio ni TV 26 good years ni gina ya nukure kan eti da bia meja ni jira so say ya da bia meja mi twam da Mugabe da bia na me look fresh da bia akoma pa na me nam say ya na kure nko a me matwere ho adwemba me need time for that. Bebia no kure ne da no samakoma no ehu na me hu se bebia no kure da no meni hu na manka makoma ne mpe me so me kra mpe what's your kind of kure na Ghana for to my pefra. Yes intienei sabana yesese metro mass asset ya deba ya dibe yebeshebo kana dibe beka ho SCC benya bia ka ho ayalo no benya bia ka ho private sector no moboa ma e good enough o man bia betumpo bia no sa wotumi boa e private sector na no etumi boa e mo man tumi fa ne ntoma paye dey efra ame gina na so yi eja wi asem ne o mo ne ade mo boa o ma fair enough basa voice ni munyi free ekwan so voice no munyi free ekwan so ebi maso den wa ma Ghana ma asa na ma ka run so maso den sa dai so mo ya 500 Ghana a day into a check here ni de obenya nipa ma be kwa wo no wanwene ho okwa ba ni awutie me wo de wo so kwadwane na kofro okwa no wa kra fie se bia wo koi wunim se obeba na wo ma ko wun kwase ewuo jimi wuo kwaso bia beka order bi dai tu bia wawu ewuo bi wo ha wo bewu ama wo busuafo babreu ebia na wo na wo ye the breadwinner in the family ebia na a lot of people depend on you to survive on daily basis wo free busuane ma wa hamafo. If you don't know, I'm telling you. Saka na man fro. Private are fine. Say be commercial organ ha. Na say wo mo de sa mo allow sa commercial and sa small cars no private cars na say nya commercial be ka kan mo lodo ko wa. E be ka ko me ko Burkina Faso. E be ka ko me ko Tamale. Mo ko fa sa ba asese be ka dem obi amfro. Mo stop you mo now. Aba wo wonya na obeka wa ye den utwa ne tine twafre so vozi akoko hwa no mo stop no as soon as possible from the system. Obetiri awrane sanwam to Accra problem ni ho eye amasama to Accra problem ni ho obetimi anodu efri eye dowenya aba bedu tama problem ni ho asama Accra problem ni ho basi ebe ala ka ye to steer free ni fa besi bonkum se no do free akwa so no do free akwa Cape Coast no do amanfo mo kwata krade no do free akwa Kumasi dio no mo stop you mo na me ma start sa crusade we mimi janum da mo bom sa kopem say I mean obo say action has been taken. More fire. Dr. Agbozu atenase bro nyina me ho hwe bia Agbozu ya manfo ho adwuma ene yese kotie beka ho se de sa no muka no kotie beka nya sa yese ni expiring date be me bia ni expiring date obetena ne sema woka no ade enkola ka panyine ka moso mo sema yen kan kire wo yen ka de na nkire wo Assafuah ka obi aka Roman father fo ka nkremo Imans fo ka nti yen kan de na yen kan kire ho padie o se otumi de wo yere aduane isa wo yere ye aduane na aduane na sei ye be ma o se otutuo ne e fe capacity man atan kolega biga o fe satatis nya na fe hin na mani e bose ma
Dedi kama mamena PENDREAM TV ase. Na so far so good. Say open online portal e wo Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.